Okay, it's great to be here. Today we're talking about assistive technology, specifically alarms and alerts. So I'm from Hearing Connections, a company based in Sydney, but we sell all over Australia. I'm hearing impaired. I wear 2 cochlear implants. I was implanted my left ear 14 years ago, and the other ear 7 years ago. I'm qualified in electronics, and I've actually been working on hearing augmentation and technology for people with hearing loss. It says 30 years on the screen. It's now 40 years as of last week, full time. Alarms and alerts. There's different types of users. We've got those with moderate loss. They can't hear smoke detectors because they're so high pitched. And there's a reason smoke detectors are so high pitched. You actually require less power, battery power, for high frequency sound than you do for low frequency sound. However, the majority of hearing loss occurs first of all at the high frequencies. I used to have to change the smoke detector batteries at home, and I'd go to test it, and I'd just hold the button and wait for somebody else in the house to scream out what's going on. If they didn't, I knew the battery was flat. So yes, now we've got smoke detectors with 10-year batteries, so that saves that problem. With severe to profound hearing loss, they struggle with all alerts, not just smoke detectors. Particularly at night when they're not wearing hearing aids. So they may hear the front doorbell, for example, because they've got the hearing aids on during the day, and they're lower frequencies, but not hear other alerts, like the baby crying, for example. Cochlear implant users. This is where the theory goes out the door, because you can't tell just because someone's a cochlear implant user what they can and can't hear. So I've got 55% speech perception. I can hear right up to 7.9 kilohertz, but that's me. Other people won't necessarily be able to determine what a smoke detector sounds like compared to a different sound. So they may hear all alerts when they're wearing their cochlear processors, they may not. And of course, take them off at night, I sleep really well, but I can't hear a thing. So there's all different users, and obviously these are generalities, not precise. Everybody's unique. We've always got to remember that. So we've got alarm clocks. By the way, there are many different brands on the market of all different devices. The reason I've specified the specific brand today that I'm talking about is because I've found it gives you the broadest range of options to work together as one system. Now so we've got alarm clocks, we've got alarms and alerts, we've got smartwatches. We've also, not technology, but some people do really well with hearing dogs. Hearing assistance dogs, I should say, sorry. And that's available through Lions, and NDIS also fund them, if you're an NDIS client. So I'm going to start with the alarm clocks, and the first one is the Vibio. So that's my one. That's what I use when I travel. Put it in the pillow slip, I set the times on my phone, works with a smartphone with Bluetooth, and I can set multiple times for it if I want to. It's also got a snooze function. Any alarm clock I have has to have a snooze function to be effective. So, yeah. And I can choose on the options whether or not to wake me up if the phone rings. Now, somebody wants to ring me during the night, I don't want to know about it, so I turn that option off. But yeah, that's really good, and that's what I use for travelling. And by the way, you look at the size of that, not that big, you may think, well, what's the vibration like? Your head, because it's part of your hearing mechanism, is really sensitive to vibrations. It doesn't take much for a vibration to wake you up if it's in your pillow slip. Very effective. I've read a study once, unfortunately I've never been able to track it down, that said that only 50% of people woke up to a flashing light. 85% woke up to a vibration that was constant. 100% woke up to vibrations that pulsed on and off. And that's what all these ones do. Now we've also got the mains powered alarm clock here, and that's got a bed shaker. This is the most powerful bed shaker on the market that I've been able to find. So if you do have a teenage son in particular that needs, that wants to resist waking up, that's the one I recommend. There's two versions of this. So the one I've got on the screen, it's a standalone device, mains powered, you don't have to worry about batteries. Very effective. Now this next one, it looks identical, by the way. The only difference when you look at it is actually the part number on the bottom. But this one actually ties in with all the other devices. So for example, the smoke detector, when this smoke detector, the Bellman smoke detector goes off, it actually activates the clock and the bed shaker. So that's what I've got at home, is so that I know if the smoke detector goes off when I'm asleep. But I put in there both models because some people say I'll leave it up to my wife or mum or whatever to tell me if there's a fire, or I don't care if there's a fire, some people will say. So it's two different models of that. So with the Bellman system, the base Bellman system, it's wireless between all the devices. You can get vibrating, you can get flashing, you can get loud, any combination. To give you an example, that's a very good, oh sorry. My wife keeps telling me I'm not allowed to call them vibrators, I've got to call them bed shakers. For 40 years they've been called vibrators, but I've got to call them bed shakers. Very effective bed shaker. So I had that one connected to the flash. Hopefully you heard the doorbell go, the loud ringer, and everything activates if the smoke detector goes off. One of the good things too about the smoke detector, if you can't stop it. When your clock picks it up and shakes you awake, or the bed shaker attached to the flash goes off, you can't stop it. The idea is if your clock goes off during the night, you think, oh, I'll wake up in 5 minutes, and just press the snooze button. But if it's the smoke detector, you want it to keep going, and it does. So you've got to actually look at it and say, oh look, there's a little red light on there. You would have seen it on here. They've got indicators. Turn that on. And you'll see the red light. So you get I can't stop it because of the smoke detector. I can pull it out. So you get different light to indicate what triggered it. So it's a really good safety feature. And you get different alert from the loud ringer. So the good thing is out of those devices I've showed you, I've got here, you don't need Wi-Fi. So you don't have to worry about having Wi-Fi at home or the range of it. Because believe it or not, there are still particularly elderly people that don't have Wi-Fi in their home. And they're happy and good on them. We need to be able to support them, and we can with this range. We do have some products that do need the Wi-Fi, specifically that we can link in the Ring video doorbell, and then we put in the door transmitter, which picks up the sound from the chime and activates the devices. At the end of this presentation, I'm actually going to show you what my setup is in my home, just as what we've found works for us. Everybody will come up with a different package. And in most cases, NDIS does fund the products as well, if you qualify. And of course, there's all the disclaimers with the NDIS that you've got to meet all their other conditions as well. The wrist alert, so that wrist alert to activate, tell you when something goes off, that requires Wi-Fi as well. And I can get notifications on my phone, smartphone, and on my normal smartwatch. So, but as I said, you need Wi-Fi for those options. You can also buy kits, or you can buy the individual options. So, all the ways you can be alerted. We've got the flash with the bed, with or without the bed shaker, the alarm clock with the bed shaker, and the light on the front flashes as well. You can also turn on a ding dong sound with it as well, which I leave turned off for myself, but the option is there. We've got the loud ringer. I have that on maximum volume. I'm not allowed to do that at home. My wife won't permit it. So we have two of them at a lower volume because she doesn't want hearing aids. She doesn't want to go deaf. So we turn it down, and we have two because of the size of the house. So yeah, you've got to find what works for you. There's also a vibrating pager, and before the wrist alert came out, mums with babies would commonly purchase the pager. Now, of course, I'd recommend they go for the wrist alert, but some people still prefer a personal choice as well of what people find the best. And I've got there for the wrist alert and for the smartphone via the bridge. This is the interface via Wi-Fi between the systems. Then we've got all the detectors or transmitters. So obviously we've got a smoke detector. One of the most common questions I get is, can I use any smoke detector with the Bellman system? No, you can't, because this smoke detector has the transmitter in it to transmit the signal to the flash and all the other devices. So it has to be the Bellman one, and it meets the current Australian standards, which means it's got a 10-year battery in it, up to 10 years. So very effective. In Queensland, I think it's in 2 years' time, houses will have to have a smoke detector in every room under the new rules coming in. Not only that, they all have to be interlinked. So if any one goes off, all the smoke detectors go off. And these do that. So I've got 2 smoke detectors in my house, and they talk to each other. So if one goes off, the other goes off, and all our devices are activated. So even if you don't live in Queensland, if you've got 2 in the house, it's good to have them interlinked. It's a really good safety feature. The push button, so that can go at the front door. if you get the push button, it's really good to get the loud ringer, so people with normal hearing in the house can also hear where the doorbell goes, not just via the flash or the bed shaker, so, or the wrist alert. So, as I said, we've got 2 of those. Some people have 2 doorbells. They have this and then they have the normal one next to it. You know, if you've got 2, everybody will press the wrong one. So if I was the only one home, they'd press the normal one instead of this one. The wife was the only one home, they'd press this one and not the other one. So you only want one button to do what you want it to do. So just a bit of advice there. Because no matter what you have, it has to work and work properly. Also, obviously, batteries are involved, so that's got a battery in it. The smoke detector, as I said, 10-year battery. The Vibio I showed you is a rechargeable battery. The clock and the flash, they've both got rechargeable batteries in them. So if there's a power failure, you've got some time before the batteries run out. And if all rechargeable batteries have a limited life. So some batteries will, rechargeable batteries I've seen only last about 3 or 4 years. Others I've seen go up to 7 or 8 years. So it depends, but when it goes faulty, that light goes red, and that's when it's time to change the rechargeable batteries in it. So my ones, I think at home, are about 5 or 6 years old, I think. Yeah, and haven't been replaced. So same thing on the flash, on the alarm clock as well. The bridge and other ones, they have AA batteries, 2 AA batteries in them. So the vibrating pager, if you get the docking station, and by the way, you can plug a bed shaker into that as well. So at night, you've got the bed shaker connected to it. During the day, you've got the pager. That's got a rechargeable in it if you get the charging dock. And the loud ringer, that takes 4 AA batteries, 4 C-size batteries. I get fed up with changing them once a year, so I run it off a plug pack, which is extra. Now we've also got baby monitor, and it looks like this, and it goes next to the cot. And you can program it for different sensitivities, so you may only want to hear when the baby screams, not when it whimpers. If you're a first time mum, you want to hear it when it whimpers, so you can, the second one you want to hear it when it's moderate, the third one when it's screaming. So, I've got dad joke sense of humour, sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. It's a good sense of humour, even though my family disagrees. You can also connect a number of these to the landline phone as well, to notify you when the landline phone is activated. There's a few other options too. We've got a floor mat, so that if a child hops out and steps on the floor mat, it activates. We've also had some carers for senior people get that option, so they're notified when an elderly person gets out of bed during the night. We've also had requests where the floor mat goes just inside the front door, so they know if there's an intruder at night. Because with hearing loss, there's also, for some people, there's a sense of insecurity, if you live alone in particular, safety-wise. So I've had some who buy multiple and put them under windows as well. So there's all different ways to use them. The people who are most successful with their hearing loss are those who think outside the box, who don't just say, okay, this is a push button, have to go to the front door. Well, it also comes with a lanyard. So somebody who's sick or has a mobility disability, can actually call for help or call for assistance or just call because they want someone to talk to, whatever. So it's not just the doorbell button, it's also a personal caller as well. So think outside the box, find what works for you. There's also a magnetic switch, little white things with a magnet in them, and they attach to both sides of a window frame. The door window's open, it activates the alerts. It can also be used on door frames as well. Instead of a floor mat, you have the window switch magnetic switches for the door or window. The door transmitter, which is an acoustic pickup. So it's designed primarily for the front door. You've got an existing front doorbell. You put the transmitter, looks like this, next to the doorbell, and it picks up the sound from it and then activates the alerts. So I've got that to work with my video doorbell. And the only downside is it can pick up false alerts. Fortunately, it's programmable. They can program it specifically to the chime or the doorbell. But when you change the batteries last about a year to a year and a half. When you change the batteries, you've got to reprogram it each time. So the bridge, as I said, that this one specifically links all the transmitters, like the smoke detectors, etc., to the wrist receiver, but it also links to your smartphone. So you get the alerts on the smartphone. So if you've got a traditional smartwatch like I have, I get it from the phone to the smartwatch. Very, very good. As I said, you can choose them as individual items. I actually encourage people when they ring me, I answer their question directly and say, look, grab a cup of coffee, sit down at the computer and just go through the list of items and have a think about what works for you. So I've never used the pager. I don't need it. But I've got 2 loud ringers. So it's a case of what works for us. Don't forget smartwatches. We don't sell smartwatches, but I can't live without mine now. To be notified when my phone actually rings. I've had a smartwatch probably now for about 8 years, and it was such a relief to get it because I was missing phone calls, and they were for work at times as well. I'd miss the SMSs. So even though the phone would vibrate, I wouldn't always feel it. It wasn't always hard in my pocket against the skin. So it was such a relief not to be checking my phone, have I missed something? So smartwatches are wonderful. Accessible telecoms, the project I worked on for a number of years. It's a free website handled by ACAN. You can look on there for a number of different features of smartwatches and different brands. So, my home. What have I got? I've got 2 smoke detectors, one upstairs, one downstairs. Even though it's only the garage downstairs. The Ring video doorbell with a Chime Pro and the door transmitter, and that links it in to the rest of the detectors, the rest of the transmitters. So I've got the Visit alarm clock with the bed shaker. I've got there the mobile phone sensor. I used to use that, and what you would do at night, put the mobile phone sensor on top of your phone, and then it would wake you when the phone flashed during the night. But I discovered I didn't really want to know when people were trying to contact me during the night, so I don't use the phone sensor. In my office I've got the flash because when I'm on the phone I can't hear the loud ringer. So, and then I've got two of these around the house, one upstairs, one downstairs. I've now got the bridge, so it sends the signals to my smartwatch and to my phone. And then my smartwatch itself, which happens to be a Samsung one, and a smartphone. Then I use the Vibio for travelling. So that's what I've found works for me. I've been through most of the options, but new products also come out. The bridge was only, and the wrist receiver was only released in the last 12 months. So you've got to keep watching and looking to see what's available. So are there any questions, anybody?
Oh, hi Andrew. It's so good to know so many options available. Yeah, that's fabulous. My question is, if I want to install the smoke detector, do I need to find someone who are qualified to install this?
No, you don't. The question was, do you need to find someone qualified to install the smoke detector? Generally, anybody with a screwdriver and a small drill can install it. So it comes with the screws, and you just screw that up into the ceiling, and then that just, I get it in the right place, and I get it in the right twist, and that just twists, clicks on. So there is another option where you can actually get a magnetic mount for it. So you just glue the magnetic mount up, the one half, and use the other one adheres to here. One problem we've got is we can't guarantee when you move, if you're renting, when you move, that taking the magnetic mount off won't take the paint off with it. However, Bunnings and Officeworks and all the other places do have adhesive tape specifically for renters. And when you want to remove it, you pull the end of it down and that releases it. And in theory, doesn't damage the paint. And some of my family members use those and they found it very successful. The one key thing to remember about any adhesive is to clean the surface properly before adhering. Otherwise, it sticks there for a week and then falls off. If you do proper cleaning beforehand of where it's going to go, you'll save that problem. And very successful. And the door transmitter and the baby monitor and the bridge and all the other ones in this particular case, they have an adhesive with a Velcro, which is Velcro attached. They can take it off to change the battery. So, all you need is either a handyman or you just buy the magnetic mount and stick it up as an option. So, if you've got any questions, the best thing I can recommend is the website, and then failing that, send me an email. I'm hearing impaired with cochlear implants. My tests show that I understand 55% of what's said, and then lip reading adds to that. So I actually prefer emails over phone calls. However, I'm prepared to give the phone call a go if you need to ring me. So, thank you very much. Have a great day or evening, depending on when you're watching it. Thank you.